Welcome back, Freelancers Undefeated Rescue. Back in the Interceptor, going over the Gear Showcase series. A few people in here, not too crazy, nothing special. But we'll go out into Bastion and show off some gear. Okay, so we're back in GM1, and today we are showcasing one of the last for the strike system. All we have left is Viper's Bite, but we are going over Shadow Claw today. So this is the non-cataclysm version of Spectre's Flash. And basically what the differences are here, so Spectre's Flash does a lot more damage. They have the same recharge and the same radius. And the main difference here is going to be their Masterwork perk. So it's an upgraded Wraith Strike, projects a ghost to the target, launches 2 Wraith projectiles that seeks enemies. So that's kind of the main difference. One of the main differences here is Shadow Claw sends out 2 of the projections, where Spectre's Flash technically only sends out 1. So Spectre's Flash will also detonate. So here's the thing that I didn't cover in Spectre's Flash that I kind of want to go back and showcase here. You kind of got to do some research on this if you didn't already have like an epic version of it. But basically, you kind of have to go back and look at the epic versions to kind of explain it to you. But basically, if you have an aura, so if you have a fire, acid, or ice aura on you, and you send out one of these wraith projections, it takes the element that your aura is, it carries it with it as if it's like a projection of you to that enemy, and it will basically apply that effect to them. So it will prime those targets with your effect. So this one, I think we'll kind of go over, like, in the end, my comparison to these two, just because they are very highly comparable, because they're pretty much the same thing, just one does a little bit more than the other. But we'll go ahead and showcase it. So I'll just showcase initially, like, how the damage numbers it puts out, everything like that, and then we'll kind of go from there. So as you can see, it sends out a Wraith, nothing special, or a projection. And what it did is it jumped from this enemy to this enemy type. So it's hard to tell, but there are actually 2 going out. It's like one after the other. Does pretty good damage against shields in GM1 and does pretty good damage against normal enemy types. So, nothing too special in GM1. So what I'll do is I'll try and prime them, and then I will get, see, this is going to be kind of hard in GM1, but let's see if we can prime one of these guys real quick. Actually, alright, so they're primed. So now I have an acid aura, and if you see, when I send out, it kills them, but if they were a little bit more tankier, it would apply the status effect to them. So it's going to be hard to showcase that in GM1 because they're all going to go down really easily, but we'll showcase in general how it works. So, pretty much one shot. And I don't know if you could tell, like, one hit them, took their shield down a little bit of health, and the other one went to the other enemy type that was right next to them. And then there is a little bit of tracking on it inherently, so they do track. I think Shadow Claw tracks a little bit, or kind of like tracks better than Spectre's Flash. I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense because they're both pretty much the same thing. But those are like the results that I've gotten. Alright, let's see if we can split the difference here between the group. So as you saw, it looks like what it's doing is it's hitting an enemy and then it's traveling across 3 of them. But it's actually splitting, it is splitting them up. Armored enemy and showcase them. So yeah, one will take down an armored enemy just fine. Okay, should be one more left. I'll clear them out and we'll go up against the javelin. Nice. Alright, so 1-on-1 with the ranger. Let them do their ult. So it takes down their shield in about 2 volleys, and then it does good damage against their armor. So we should clear them out right here. Okay, cool. Yeah, pretty straightforward uses. Nothing special about it. I think we're going to showcase a lot more of it in GM3 just because of the way the priming works. But as you can see, if I can drag them a certain way, you see right there, there's 2 of them. So you have to kind of like drag them while you're doing it, and you can see the 2 come off. So it's definitely sending 2 out, where with Spectre's Flash, it typically sends out 1. I can showcase that off real quick too, just for quick comparison. Okay, so we got Spectre's Flash on right now, and you see it's just the 1. So definitely just 1's coming out right now. Yeah, it's just the 1. Let's see if I can get up here and give you a better angle. So that's where some comparisons I like to draw are at, is that I think Spectre's Flash, even though it can detonate, it's stuff that it primes, which is kind of all the Cataclysm weapons can do. Shadow Claw sends out 2 of these, so essentially 1 charge is double. It does less damage, so that's something you need to consider. That's a trade-off, but it's not a lot less damage. It's a little bit less damage, but we'll back out into GM3 and kind of showcase it there. Okay, so back in the dungeon, and we are on GM3. We'll head in and showcase Shadow Claw. So it does a little more than half the damage to the grunts. Cool. And there's a little bit of a trick to splitting them. You just gotta like get the timing correct on when you launch out the initial attack. But let's see how it does against shields. So 2 against shields does about 1/3 of the shield damage against an elementalist. And then let's see if we can... Alright, so what I'm going to do is detonate them. And now I've got Fire Aura. Shoot, it's not going to work too well down in here. With all these... Yeah. It's not going to work too well with all these guys. I need to get some grunts, unfortunately. But as far as just doing damage in general, not too good against normal health. So I imagine it's probably not going to do too well against armor. I'm just going to take out this storm real quick. And it's got pretty good tracking. It's debatable of whether or not it's better tracking than Spectre's, but... Okay, so... Oh, man. What's going on here? Nope, didn't get them in time. Let's see if we can prime them. Alright, they're primed. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish them off real quick. Alright, so I've got Fire Aura on me. I'm gonna launch out the Shadow at them. As you can see, they're primed right now. So I didn't get the prime off in time. Okay. So take them out like normal to get rid of them. Alright, so now I have Acid Aura on me. So I'm gonna spread that to them with Spectre Fire. Now they've got it on them. What I can do is come in, detonate that combo. Now it's restarted my Acid Aura effect. So to me, this has a lot more synergy than what Spectre's Flash would typically have based on its masterwork ability. It's realistically the same, so it's really up to the end user what kind of they think about it. But I think priming and detonating with 2... Oh, I'm gonna take their shield down. Now we got all the shielded guys. Okay, so now they're on fire. I've got Fire Aura on me. And now I've spread that out to them. So now that I've got Fire Aura, I can do that. And I kind of go back and forth with it. The only thing is, if I detonate an acid combo right now, so like their acid, I detonate an acid combo, I'm still got fire. But that's just how the aura effect works. So that's kind of a little different from gear. So as you can see, they're still on fire. So you kind of got to wait till it runs out if you want to switch to a different aura. Let's see how I can just set all these guys on fire, and I can set my team up to do stuff. I can just come in here and detonate all these combos. The only thing you got to be careful with is if you've got an ice aura on you, that potentially could cause you to inadvertently freeze groups that are trying to spawn in. So, one-on-one with the javelin. Here's what the issue is going to be, is now that my aura's gone and I'm one-on-one, I can't really get it back unless I take their shield down. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so shield's down. I'll go ahead and try and prime them. Actually, before I prime them, just show you like normal damage. Doesn't do a whole lot. They're shielded. So now I've got my aura effect. I can throw that at them. It should. So this is the problem too, is now I can't really like apply a different effect to them. And this is potentially where you're going to see, now they're all done, this is potentially where you're going to see an advantage with Spectre's Flash, because you can detonate them. So it's kind of give and take. I think with crowd control, Shadow Claw is going to be better because it has more Wraith projectiles, and then it's not, you're not going to inadvertently detonate an enemy type with it, where it's going to be very dependent on your build too, whether you go with one over the other. Spectre's Flash is going to be better if you're going one-on-one with an enemy type, because if you're able to basically apply a primer effect to them, then you can detonate them, and then you just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So that's kind of showcasing it is going to be better than Shadow Claw, unfortunately. So in Spectre's Flash's Cataclysm weapon or gear, so they were all kind of built off pre-existing gear in the game that do better. So the only real advantage you're going to see to Shadow Claw is the fact that you can send out 2 Wraiths. That's really about it, unfortunately. Doesn't make it so. Well, let's go through and check some boxes. So is it efficient? Well, so this is where I think it's going to outshine Spectre's Flash. It's more efficient to a degree because it has more per charge. So you're almost doubling your charge. Not necessarily your damage, although 2 are technically going to do more than 1, because I think if you look at the damage on them, it's like marginal from one to the other. So Shadow Claw does about 9,500 damage, where with Spectre's Flash it does about 1,400 damage. So there's like a 4,000 to 5,000 damage difference there, which is a good amount of damage, but still, like mathematically, if you want to really go looking at this, technically you're sending out 2 at approximately 10,000 damage, where you're only sending 1 at about 14,000 damage. So, and that has a lot to do with your skill level with the Interceptor, as well as whether or not you can actually send out like 2 Wraiths, or if they're just going to hit the same target. So there's a couple different factors there that are going to go into that you have to really consider. Is it viable? Well, it is a primer, so yeah, it's viable. I would say this is where Spectre's Flash is more viable, because it's a primer and a detonator, and it'd be a lot more useful in strongholds, going up against like one single target, kind of like the Undying, or the Tyrant Queen, or even like the Monitor. If you're going up against them, it makes it easier to prime them and detonate that prime, just because you can switch through multiple. But that's a little bit more advanced techniques that I'm not really trying to talk about right now. I just want to showcase the gear and its positives and negatives. Then is it fun? I think that being able to prime groups of enemies at a time is really fun. I have to say this every time, because I'm going to hear about it. Like, your mileage may vary whether you think it's fun or not, because you might not find something like that very fun. Maybe you just want something that helps you get your ult get your ult back really quickly, because you've got like an ult build. So something like this might not necessarily be fun to you. But for my playstyle and the way I use it, I think it's a lot of fun. Just some quick final thoughts about which one's better. I really don't think one's better than the other. I think they both just, even though they're the exact same piece of gear, their masterwork perks inherently do work a little bit differently, even though technically on paper Spectre's Flash just looks better because it can do one extra thing. But then the argument to that would be, well, Shadow Claw sends out 2 Spectres, or projections. So it's really going to be up to your playstyle which one would be better. I still recommend getting this if it comes through the store. It's not a Cataclysm one, so you are going to have to get it from the featured store, so you're going to have to pay about 2,000 coin to get one. But if you get one in a drop or in a Lego, if you get one from a chest from a Lego, I would definitely hold on to it and play around with it and see if it matches your playstyle better than Spectre's Flash. Regardless, I'm giving it a thumbs up because it's a really good piece of gear. And the fact that you can just spread your whatever your prime is or your aura all over and then get it back immediately by detonating the combo with melee or whatever you're using to detonate combos with, it's just going to be fun in general and very viable. It's going to be, and it is very efficient. So I don't think there's much else to say on it. Really good piece of gear. And I'm Defeated Rescue and hope to see you guys out in Bastion.